We get all kind of interesting questions and comments in the mailbag. I want to start tonight by sharing some positive feedback from a viewer named Susan. She wrote, "We saw your nostalgia segment on the news tonight. I really like that. We would love to see more of that positive kind of news." Susan is talking about this story that we aired this past Friday, a story that we pulled out of the WRAL archive. It was about Christmas in July. It originally aired back in 1997. Susan, I'm glad you like it. Thank you for watching. And guess what? Our Friday moment of nostalgia airs every Friday. You guessed right. If you like taking a little walk down memory lane, you can join us here on Fridays. WRAL News at 7 o'clock. Every Friday we do it. It's a lot of fun. Moving on to a question I got from a viewer named Kay. She asked, does Governor Stein ever wear a tie? Just curious. Kay, you may be onto something. We looked around in our WRAL video archive and we found a lot of Stein and not a lot of ties. Here is Stein in March talking about his state budget proposal. No tie. Here he is reading to children. No tie. The Jet Zero announcement in June. No tie. In his June interview with WRAL. No tie. His profile picture on X. No tie. His cover photo, on the other hand. Aha, tie. We got a tie, ladies and gentlemen. That's a day from Stein swearing in as governor. He also wore a tie during his State of the State address in March. So those were really the only two examples we could find of this guy wearing a tie in our archive. But to be fair, if you Google Josh Stein tie, which we did today, a whole bunch of pictures of him come up wearing a tie. So to answer Kay's question, yes, Governor Stein wears ties, but most of the time he's keeping it cash. He's out there keeping it cash. Let's move on to a question I got about something that kind of looks like a tie with teeth. Snakes. It's not my best transition. I understand that. We'll do better. Anyway, Chris saw the story on the woman that was bitten by a copperhead. See, a couple weeks ago, a 76-year-old Raleigh woman was bitten by a copperhead in her yard, said it burned like a million bee stings. She went to the ER, got treated, and spent the night in the hospital. She's doing much better now. The snake, not so much. She killed it with a garden tool. Chris wanted me to mention when he wrote in that you can't do that with all snakes in North Carolina. He said all rattlesnakes are protected species in North Carolina. It is illegal to harass, kill, move, or touch them in any way, which is true. Chris is right. Rattlesnakes are protected here, but it's not the only reason you want to run when you hear a rattle. See, North Carolina has three types of rattlesnakes. The eastern diamondback, that's listed as endangered. In fact, there hasn't really been a confirmed sighting of one in the wild for decades. And the timber and pygmy rattlesnakes, both listed as species of special concern and found in the mountains and at the coast. Now, you shouldn't kill any snake. First of all, we should say that. You want them around. They're nature's pest control. But to summarize here, you can legally kill a copperhead. You can't kill a rattlesnake, and both can technically kill you. But they rarely do because even the worst bites get treated with anti-venom. And that costs so much, the bill you'll get will make you want to die. Just kidding, but it is a lot. In 2019, we covered a copperhead bite that needed treated with 6 vials of anti-venom. Had a bill of $153,000.
I saw that, I fell over. And according to the bill, it said I had 2 vials at $77,000 a vial.
Yowza. Now, why is that so expensive? There are lots of reasons. We can get into that if you want. I'm not going to get into that tonight. Also, those prices were before insurance. That man ended up paying about $3,000 out of pocket. How did the bill go from $153,000 to $3,000? Welcome to our healthcare system. But imagine being bitten without insurance. When I reached out to the copperhead lady, she told me that she didn't need anti-venom, which was great. She paid $65 for her ER copay through Medicare, and now she's waiting to see how much that overnight observation is going to cost her, most likely a few $100. Last one, and I'm going to try to keep this brief. Let's quickly talk about cloud seeding. After all the flooding across the country and in our area, the concept is kind of a buzzword that you'll see on social media right now. I got a couple of emails about this. Ken wrote, "Can you give me your thoughts on cloud seeding?" And Geraldine wrote in and said, "What is cloud seeding?" Now, I should start by saying that cloud seeding is a thing. It's a real thing. This isn't some science fiction, crackpot, tinfoil hat theory sort of thing. Cloud seeding has been around for a long time, decades in fact. Particles are forced into a storm cloud to help it produce rain. Typically a chemical called Silver iodide is what they use. And this only works if a storm is already present. You can't create a new storm using this technique. Like I said, scientists have been studying this for a long time. This is a picture from 1947 during the very first cloud seeding experiment. The Storm Fury program did cloud seeding tests for decades, mostly on hurricanes. After finding the technique likely had no significant impact on the storms, the Storm Fury program was then canceled. And since then, cloud seeding technology has been used on a smaller scale, improving rainfall in drought-stricken areas. There's a company in Texas that does this. It's enough to increase rainfall by about a centimeter, so nowhere near enough to produce a flood.
There are ways that you can influence the weather, but you can't control weather systems. You can't make a flood here or a drought there. That's not possible, not with today's technology.
Despite all of this, North Carolina lawmakers passed a bill last week banning cloud seeding in our state. And we checked, there are no recorded examples of it actually ever happening here in the first place. This is just scratching the surface of this topic. We could do an entire half-hour segment on this topic. Maybe you think we should. If you do, let me know. If you're still interested, send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. What other stories are we missing here on your newscast? What questions do you have? Take maybe a little bit more than a quick Google search about Josh Stein's ties. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.
I never knew I wanted to know about Josh Stein's ties, but here I am. That was very interesting.